Hi, I'm Robert and welcome back to another edition of the High Desert Ranch channel. Here at over 6,000 feet in the high desert of the Intermountain West, I want to do a follow-up video to my other video about time is running out. And so it makes me happy. It's been like a week or so since the announcement, but if there's anything that gets in the way of making a ranch videos, it's ranching itself. But it's one of those things of, there was 3 state treasurers. If you haven't seen that, go watch it, just to get some context. But it's about the NACs, natural asset companies. And in my state of Utah, our treasurer, of all people, the treasurer, not the governor, not our federal congressmen or senators or even state representatives, it was our treasurer along with 3 other treasurers, Nebraska and I can't remember the other one, but either way, they raised the clarion call to action. And then 24 state attorney generals picked it up, and they went against the SEC, Security and Exchange Commissions, against these natural asset companies. And the outcry was overwhelmingly opposed to this. As you can see, mountains like this behind me that are over 11,000 feet, surrounded by even ones pushing 12,000 feet. They want to take these lands that were already basically quote-unquote public lands, BLM or the National Forest Service, and take these as part of the 30 for 30. So 30% of this country, they wanted it to be locked up permanently, indefinitely, where you couldn't use the natural resources. You couldn't even get to the point of even drive through. I've got a place here in Utah. There's a place here in Utah where they tried doing that, and in fact, the town lost phone service. This back in the day of landlines, and the egregious Park Service wouldn't allow them to put a telephone line back through. So people had to drive 20 miles to the next town just to use a telephone. This is the kind of madness that we're talking about. It's always quote unquote good intentions and for the good of the environment. But when, we all know what will actually happen. Good intentions, the road was paved to hell by many good intentions. And so we the people, we done did it. And that's what's awesome. We can take courage in this victory right here. It's one battle of an entire war, but we can take courage that for now they've backed off. And I think that's something that we should all be proud about, and that we are sovereign individuals. The power is invested in us, that we invest in the government, not the other way around. And so, that's the whole life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and being good stewards of the earth. I'm not saying we should go over these mountains and just trash it all, but a few months back, the Forest Service, I believe through kind of a back door, they were trying to further restrict the national forest land. And the people around here, they stood up and they said, absolutely not. And we are the ones with the power. You confiscate our wealth to use for these lands. It shouldn't even be federal government land. That's an argument for another video, and it's something that you should do a little bit of research on, just exactly per our Constitution, because our founders saw this, and they were very wise men, how much land the federal government should own. Like as far as like a single parcel, they can own buildings, and even then there's restrictions on buildings, but outside of like a building, they shouldn't be owning very much land. Not the 70% of the entire area of the state of Nevada, 68% of the entire area of the state of Utah is owned by the federal government. You get back east and it's only 1%. Iowa is 95% farmland of the entire state. So can you imagine if 70% of Iowa or whatever was owned by the federal government? That's what we're up against out here, where it's guys to restrict wealth. And the irony is in order to quote unquote conserve the environment, it was going to go up to the highest bidder. So a bunch of rich men could get together and buy assets, parcels of and wide tracts of land to then manage themselves. So anyways, we've had one victory. What we always have to watch for is the doubling down, and then the even more covert measures to get something passed. And they usually try and slip that in these 3,000-page bills, like has been done in the past. And it just goes to show, even our conservative politicians, your state representatives, your federal representatives that should be representing our state at the federal level, Congress, senators, that we can't always rely upon them. And as I've noticed in the last 100 years, what have we gained even from the quote-unquote conservatives. Have they restored our freedoms and liberties? No. They've had many chances, even the last 15 or 20 years, to do so. But it's going to be us and we the people to be vigilant, to support those individuals, such as even just the state treasurer of all people, and what they're doing, and that elections do have consequences, and that we should seek to strive for men and women that are of good standing and virtuous and integrity into our offices. Because I'll just use this plug and I won't say anything more about it, because everyone puts their faith in one office called the presidency, but it's in the 3,000 plus counties that we're going to save this country, or at least attempt to save parts of this country through those county systems. And that's what our founders wanted. They divested the power out of just one person because they don't want a king. And so it's up to us in our own counties, like I say, to take action, our own little cities within those 3,000 plus counties, to build up those areas of economy and of virtuous, lovely, and moral people. So I appreciate you coming along and listening to my ramblings here on a balmy 25 degrees. I hope the rest of the country is warming up. We haven't been super cold this winter time. And so anyways, I appreciate you coming along. Please remember not to like and not to subscribe to this channel, because I do it for you. And so that's tongue-in-cheek. So I hope that I was your ticket to help escape the ordinary and find out just what it's like to live the high life here in the high desert of the Intermountain West, only on the High Desert Ranch channel.